Hello everyone, Yami here. Today is the first episode of Kindling the Fire, a new YouTube series that I thought of the other day for the online game Hearthstone, created by Blizzard, that is now in its second phase of closed beta, where we recently had a huge influx of players. So I've decided that I'm going to make this show called Kindling the Fire, where weekly I will talk about different theories and strategies, among other things, as well as like deck lists and arena priority and stuff like that. Stuff that will help you become better at Hearthstone and rise through the ranks, and everybody wants to improve. So that's the goal. A little bit about myself. Hold on, let me drink some tea. Good stuff, Earl Grey. Anyway, where was I? A little bit about myself. I played Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitively for about 2 years. I competed in regional events, YCS events, nationals in Chicago in 2013. So I would say I competed on a fairly high level, as well as a lot of casual play in Magic the Gathering. Not so much tournament play for that game, but I do have quite a bit of experience playing that game. So I generally understand card theory, and I'm good at explaining it as well, which is why I decided to make this show. Today we're going to talk about basic card theory, the very basics. I'm going to go ahead and open up Hearthstone now and change to the other scene so we can discuss. Give me a minute. Okay, here we go. Alright, so let's go into the collection really quick and we'll see what we can do to talk about card theory. Okay, so first I want to talk about the goal of playing Hearthstone. Your goal specifically should be to reduce your opponent's health from 30 to 0. However, as in any other competitive game, your goal should be to win. If you play to have fun, that's fine, but playing to win is obviously more fun for me and other people who are competitive and like to kick people's asses. It's whatever. Anyway, in order to accomplish the goal of winning in Hearthstone, you have to make proper trades, reads, and intelligent decisions that give you card advantage over your opponent. Before we go into card advantage, I want to talk about the value of a card and what a card should mean to you regardless of the stats or the mana cost or anything. You can only play 30 cards in your deck. No matter what deck, you can only play 30 cards. That never changes. So obviously, you want to have the best in slot possible 30 cards that you can have. You want to be able to play... These decks aren't very good because I don't have all my cards unlocked yet, but you want to be able to play the best card in every slot, period. Because that's how you have a higher chance of winning. It is a card game, there is some sort of luck, but if you're intelligent and you build your deck properly, then it should run consistently and have high chances of winning, regardless of skill. Skill does have a lot to do with it, but a lot of skill comes in the deck building process as well as decision making in game. So let's talk about the value of a card really quick. Let's look at... I want to look at Ardent Protector, okay, and another 2-mana card. Let's look at Acidic Swampoos. When we're looking at the value of a card, we can look at something that I've practiced back in Magic the Gathering as well as Yu-Gi-Oh! And other card games. It's the same thing anywhere. Read the card and look at the stats without looking at the rules of the card. So let's look at Ardent Protectors. 2 mana, 2/2, and we're not going to read the battle cry. If you look at Acidic Swampoos, it's 2 mana, 3/2, and we're not going to look at the battle cry. Okay? Now, in strictly card value terms, not thinking of the situational combo-y battle cry, where, obviously being able to give a minion Divine Shield in some cases is really good. The same way that destroying your opponent's weapon in some cases is really good. In some cases, we're going to not look at that. We're going to purely look at the stats and the mana of the card. Acidic Swamp Ooze is a better card because you're paying 2 mana for 3/2, and you're playing 2 mana for 2/2. So, obviously, for strictly card value, Acidic Swamp Ooze is better. Now, if you understand that concept about how consistency comes from being generally strong, not from having situationally strong cards, you can start to build a deck together that will allow you to gain card advantage. Card advantage is the collective number of cards on your board and in your hand versus the collective number of cards on your opponent's board and in your opponent's hand. If you look at different cards and their abilities and their cost, you can do many different plays that will allow you to trade nothing for 1 card, or trade 1 card for 2 cards, or trade 1 card for 4 cards in the case of Flame Strike, which will allow you to gain card advantage, which will put you in an advantageous position to win the game. For example, the most basic form of card advantage in this game, the most basic way to get card advantage in this game, is play Mage and activate Flame Strike versus any number of cards more than 1. Like 2 Flame Strike versus 2 cards, you're plussing 1. You're getting a 1 card advantage if it kills 2 cards. If it kills 3 cards, you're getting a 2 card advantage. That's the most basic way to look at it. Another way to look at it, if we go to neutral, we can look at Novice Engineer, which is now 1/1. It used to be 2/1, versus a card that I don't actually have yet, but we can go into Crafty Mode and look at it. We can look at Novice Engineer versus Azure Drake. Find Azure Drake. There it is. Okay, so they both have the same battle cry. They both draw a card. Azure Drake has +1 spell damage and 4/4, while Novice Engineer is a 1/1. You're passing turn to your opponent, and the Novice Engineer is not attacking. So the chances of your Novice Engineer trading 1 for 1 with your opponent's card is low. And it was low last patch, too, as a 1/2. Because as a 1/2, you still can't do that much damage with 1 attack. And basically, the only way Novice Engineer is worth it is if Novice Engineer kills something. Because then you would be trading 1 for 1, but you drew, so you would be trading, or so you'd be plussing 1 and gaining card advantage that way, which puts you in an advantageous position. However, if you look at Azure Drake, and that card does the same thing, you still draw a card. You still draw a card, but it's 4/4. 4/4 has a much higher chance of trading 1 for 1 with something, or forcing them to use an answer on it. If they use an answer on it, let's say a mage uses a fireball on my Azure Drake, then they traded 1 card for my 1 Azure Drake, which is a 1 for 1, but I drew from Azure Drake, so I gained a +1 card advantage. I'm just trying to show you ways that you can gain card advantage through your game if you think about it that way. I think that about covers it for the first episode. I wanted to also talk about spells really quick. Spells like Sinister Strike and why these cards are bad. Spells that deal damage directly to the enemy hero. They're not always bad. There's situations where they can be useful. However, most of the time they're bad. I personally don't play Sinister Strike or Mind Blast or anything like that. I don't know. Those cards, they don't do anything. You're giving 1 card away for 5 damage. You should think of health as a resource you can use to gain card advantage, not as, a condition to win the game. You should think of it as a resource to gain card advantage, and if you get enough card advantage, you will win the game. That's just how it works, unless you get like Luxac or something gay like that. But yeah, I think that's about it for today, guys. I'll see you next week in episode 2, where we will be discussing a topic that I have not thought of yet, but it will be interesting, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard.
Work, work, work.